Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to explore a touching and heartfelt story about Diep, Huyen, and little Maya, a small family rebuilding their home, rediscovering love, and creating a life filled with simple happiness. It's a story about second chances, promises, and the quiet kind of love that lasts forever. If you enjoy this kind of story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next videos. The morning light came gently, slipping through the gaps in the leaves and painting soft gold over the old roof. Inside the kitchen, they were rebuilding, the rhythmic sound of hammering mixed with Huyen's laughter, the kind of sound that made the whole place feel alive. Like a melody that played just for them, Diep knelt down, measuring a wooden plank with quiet focus. His rough, calloused hands moved with precision, yet there was a softness in his eyes that betrayed the tenderness behind the work. He rarely spoke, just smiled when Huyen teased him. "You're overdoing it again," she laughed, shaking her head. "It's just a shelf, not a palace." In the yard, Maya and little Bibi chased each other between the flower beds. Their giggles danced through the air like raindrops on leaves, light and pure. And somehow, everyone's hearts felt a little lighter. Those days working side by side in the kitchen were peaceful, almost too peaceful. Diep thought he was simply helping rebuild their home, crafting a new beginning out of wood and warmth. But behind every swing of the hammer, behind every laugh, Huyen was holding a quiet secret. She had no idea that Diep, too, was building something more than a kitchen. Each night, long after Huyen and Maya had gone to bed, Diep sat at the wooden table alone. In the soft glow of a small lamp, he wrote, carefully, deliberately, on a tiny white card, "I want to call Maya my daughter, and you my wife. Not because I must, but because I choose to. This family, you, her, us, is my choice, not an accident." He folded the card neatly and slipped it into a small box. On the shelf above, a simple wedding dress hung waiting, the one he had chosen just for her. That dress had its own story. It began on a bustling afternoon downtown. The market was alive with noise. Vendors shouting, car horns blaring, the smell of food mixing with the sound of laughter. In the middle of that chaos, Diep moved quietly, his broad shoulders standing out among the crowd. He wasn't here for his usual supply of wood or nails today. He had a different mission. He stopped in front of a small wedding dress shop tucked away at the corner of the market. The faded sign above the glass door read, "Hanf Bridal." The door creaked softly when he pushed it open. Inside, the air smelled faintly of new fabric and jasmine. The woman behind the counter looked up in mild surprise. It wasn't every day that a man like Diep, dusty from work, shirt faded from the sun, walked into a bridal shop. "Good afternoon," he said quietly, his deep voice carrying a hint of hesitation. "I'm looking for a wedding dress." Her eyes softened instantly. "It's for someone you love, isn't it?" she asked with a knowing smile. Diep nodded, a small, almost shy smile touching his lips. Instantly, in his mind, he saw Huyen, her hair falling softly over her shoulders, her calm eyes, her gentle smile that always seemed to melt the world around her. The shop owner led him between rows of white dresses. The light caught the beads and lace, making them shimmer like morning dew. Diep reached out, brushing his fingers against the delicate fabrics, afraid that if he touched too hard, they might disappear. Then he stopped. There it was. A dress so simple, It almost hid among the others. No glitter, no heavy decorations, just a touch of lace on the sleeves and a faint jasmine scent that felt almost alive. It was her. That one, the dressmaker said softly, following his gaze. Any woman who wears it will be happy. He nodded. His hand trembled slightly as he received the box. The white fabric folded neatly inside. When he stepped back into the sunlight, it felt like the light itself followed him, as if the dress carried a quiet promise meant only for her. That evening, the sun began to sink behind the hills, and golden light filled the little house. Huyen stood near the doorway, glancing at the familiar path outside. Every time she heard footsteps, her heart jumped. And then, finally, he appeared. Dee's figure came slowly into view, steady as ever, holding a small box wrapped in brown paper and tied with a simple string. There was something tender in the way he carried it, something that made her smile without knowing why. "Uncle Ye's back!" Maya shouted, her little legs racing across the yard. "Mom, Uncle Ye brought a present." Startled, Day hid the box behind his back, awkward like a boy caught red-handed. Huyen laughed, stepping out to meet them, her smile as soft as the evening light. "What are you hiding from me?" she asked playfully. He only smiled, eyes crinkling. That smile, calm, warm, and full of quiet meaning, was his only answer. He leaned forward and kissed her cheek gently. "Wait for me," he whispered. "Yes," she said, her voice barely above a breath, a mix of curiosity, trust, and something she couldn't quite name. From behind them, Maya giggled, her eyes shining like tiny stars. She followed Dee inside, tiptoeing curiously. When he turned around and caught her peeking, he bent down, placed a finger on her lips, and whispered, "Shh, Maya, this is our secret. It's a surprise for Mama Huyen, okay?" She nodded seriously, covering her mouth. "I promise," she whispered. He smiled and patted her head gently. The moment was small, simple, but the house seemed to glow with warmth. From the doorway, Huyen watched them, a wave of emotion rising quietly inside her. Gratitude, peace, and love. The kind that comes from knowing that no matter how hard life had been, she was home. As long as she had Maya and Dee, she thought, she already had everything. Inside the wooden cabinet, the little box waited silently, holding a dream, a proposal, and the heart of a man who was building not just a home, but a family. The next morning, the sky was unusually clear. Soft sunlight filtered through the window, painting pale lines across the kitchen walls. Day moved quietly, careful not to wake Huyen. He'd been up since dawn, setting everything just right. On the table, wildflowers, purple, yellow, and white, were tied into small bunches with thin twine. The old tablecloth Huyen had embroidered last year was spread neatly across the table. And in the center, wrapped with lace and a white ribbon, sat the little box. Out on the porch, Maya helped him decorate. She carried a small basket filled with flowers, scattering them with cheerful concentration. "Uncle Ye, look. Does this look pretty? Can I put more?" she chirped. He chuckled softly. "It's perfect, Princess. Today, you're the keeper of our big secret, remember?" She nodded, eyes sparkling. "I remember. I'm helping Dad surprise Mom." Dee's smile widened, a quiet joy filling his chest. In that instant, his whole world was just the two of them, Huyen and Maya, the family he'd been given a second chance to love. When the sun climbed higher, he stepped back to admire the scene. Everything was ready. The repaired cup on the table, a reminder of things once broken but mended, the family photo, proof of what they'd built together. Then he looked at Maya. "Go call Mom," he said gently. "Tell her breakfast's ready, but remember, don't say anything else." Maya grinned. "Got it." She ran inside, her voice echoing through the house. "Mom, come quick. Uncle Ye and I made breakfast." Huyen appeared a moment later, her hair slightly messy, still half drowsy from sleep. She smiled at first, but when she stepped out to the porch, she froze. Before her eyes stretched a scene that felt like something out of a dream. The porch was covered in wildflowers, purple, yellow, white, each one glimmering in the soft sunlight. The table had been arranged with such care that it almost looked sacred. The old embroidered tablecloth, the wildflowers, the familiar cups, and standing in the middle of it all was Dee. He wore a clean, white shirt, pressed perfectly, and his expression was calm but full of quiet emotion. When he looked up at her, there was something in his eyes she hadn't seen before, something deep and trembling, like the moment right before rain. He reached out, took her hand gently, and said, voice low but steady, "Huyen, we've been through so much together. We built this house. We raised Maya. We've shared both the silence and the laughter. But I've never promised you anything, not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid I wouldn't be enough." He paused, eyes glancing briefly toward Maya, who stood by the door, clutching her flower basket, trying to hold in her excitement. But today, Dee knelt down, the movement slow and deliberate, as if he was grounding himself in that moment. From behind him, he brought forward the small box wrapped in lace. With careful fingers, he untied the ribbon and opened it. Inside lay a simple silver ring, nothing flashy, just clean, timeless, and the folded white dress that caught the morning light like a whisper of heaven. "I want to call Maya my daughter," he said softly, his voice breaking a little. "And I want to call you my wife, not because life forced us to, but because I choose you, every single day, from now until forever." The world went silent. The breeze stopped. Even the leaves seemed to hold their breath. Huyen's lips parted, but no sound came. Her eyes shimmered as tears welled up and began to fall, one by one. Maya, her small face glowing with excitement, tugged her mother's hand. "Mom, say yes," she squealed. "Uncle Yes said it's a surprise for you." Huyen laughed through her tears, her heart overflowing. She covered her mouth with one hand, nodding again and again. Then she knelt down, threw her arms around Dee, and held him tightly. "Yes," she whispered against his shoulder. 1,000 times yes. Maya jumped with joy, clapping her hands. "Yay! Daddy and Mommy are getting married." The air filled with laughter, with sunlight, with the scent of jasmine floating from somewhere unseen. For a moment, time didn't move. It just stayed there, wrapped around them, tender and golden. Outside, the wind danced softly through the trees, carrying with it the promise of new beginnings. That evening, the small house glowed with warmth. The three of them sat on the porch as the sun dipped below the hills. Huyen leaned against Dee's shoulder, her fingers tracing the grain of the wooden table they had built together. Maya sat at their feet, humming a tune only she seemed to know, surrounded by petals she'd collected during the day. "Do you remember," Huyen said softly, "when I joked about wanting a dress that smelled like jasmine?" Dee smiled, eyes fixed on the horizon. I remember everything you say. She chuckled. You never talk much, but when you do, you always make me cry. He turned to her then, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. Then I guess I'll keep trying, but maybe next time, I'll make you laugh instead. She smiled through the shimmer of her tears. You already do. The quiet between them wasn't empty. It was full of every day they had shared, every night they'd stayed up worrying, every small victory they'd earned together. It was the kind of silence that only comes when two people have seen each other through everything and still choose to stay. The following week, the kitchen, once filled with the sound of hammering and construction, turned into a place of celebration. Huyen and Maya decorated every corner with wildflowers, ribbons, and paper cranes that Maya had folded herself. The air was thick with laughter, flour, and the smell of freshly baked bread. Their wedding was simple. No guests, no grand ceremony, just the three of them. A family built from love, trust, and second chances. Maya held the bouquet she and her father had made together. Huyen wore the jasmine-scented dress the one Day had picked out. She turned slowly, the sunlight catching the soft lace at her sleeves. Dee stood there, eyes full of quiet wonder, as if seeing her for the first time all over again. When they exchanged rings, there were no fancy vows, just words from the heart. I don't have much, Day said softly, but everything I do have, I'll share with you. Huyen smiled. And everything I am, I'll give to you. Maya giggled, clapping her hands. Now kiss. They laughed, and Day leaned forward, kissing her gently as sunlight poured through the windows. Outside, the world continued. The wind moving through the trees, the birds calling in the distance. But inside that small home, something eternal began. Years later, people would pass by that little house on the hill and smell jasmine blooming at the porch. They'd see a repaired cup sitting on the windowsill, and inside, a family laughing together. A man, a woman, and a girl who'd grown into a bright young woman. The world outside changed, but their home stayed the same, filled with warmth, laughter, and the quiet kind of love that doesn't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes, Dee still woke early, long before sunrise. He'd step out onto the porch, mug of coffee in hand, and watch the light slowly spill over the hills. Behind him, he'd hear the sound of soft footsteps, Huyen's. She'd lean against the door frame, hair messy, eyes still sleepy, just like that morning years ago. Still up early, huh? She'd tease. He'd smile, just making sure the world still looks the same. Does it? He'd glance back at her, eyes warm. Better. Every day it's better. Then from inside, Maya's voice, now deeper, older, would call out, Mom, Dad, breakfast ready. And they'd go back in hand, just like they always did. Because love, real love, doesn't live in grand gestures or perfect moments. It lives in quiet mornings and shared laughter, in repaired cups and rebuilt kitchens, in choosing each other, again and again, even when life isn't easy. For Dee, that choice had begun on a bright morning filled with sunlight and laughter, and it would continue for every morning to come. The scent of jasmine lingered in the air, and somewhere, a small wooden box still sat in the cabinet, now filled not with secrets, but with memories of a promise kept. A promise that began with a whisper, I choose you. And in that simple truth, that quiet, steadfast love,
Alex,
Their story
một người
lived
đàn ông tốt
on
bụng và tài
forever.
năng, âm thầm
In a
tu
quiet
sửa,
village,
trong khi
Dieu and
Tử
Huyen
La chăm chỉ làm
rebuild their
việc
little
để
home,
xứng đáng với tấm lòng của anh,
unaware that
thì
every
chị gái
nail
của
and
Alex lại
lath
phản đối,
hides a
cho
tender
rằng cô
secret.
không xứng đáng với em trai mình.
While Huyen dreams
Cùng
of
lúc
simple
đó, Alex
happiness,
luôn lo lắng
Dieu
cho
prepares
sự an
something
toàn và
far
sức khỏe
deeper,
của Tử La,
a
thậm
surprise
chí còn nhắc
that
nhở
could
cô
change
về
their
việc phải
lives
đi bộ quãng
forever.
đường dài cùng con nhỏ.
From the scent
Những
of
lần gặp
jasmine
gỡ,
to the
họ đều ấm
laughter
áp,
of little Maya,
nhưng vẫn bị che
their
phủ bởi
days
những tình cảm
unfold like
chưa nói ra
poetry.
và sự phản đối từ gia đình.
When Dee finally kneels
Ở
before
nhà,
Huyen
Alex phải đối
with a
mặt với sự
ring
cương
and a
quyết của chị
jasmine
gái,
scented
yêu cầu
dress,
anh giữ khoảng
love
cách.
finds its
Nhưng sâu
voice
trong
again.
lòng, anh biết
But
mình đang quan
life
tâm
has
đến
a
Tử
way of
La nhiều
testing
hơn những
even
gì
the
tự nhận.
strongest promises.
Quyết tâm thay đổi cách nhìn
What
của
will
gia đình,
happen
Alex âm
when
thầm
the
lên
past
kế hoạch
comes
chứng minh giá
knocking
trị
on?
của